So let's talk let's talk about your background. So you're a developer, right? So I've taken it at some point you were like, man, CI really sucks. I need to make a company out of it to solve this problem.
That's kind of how it goes. So at the time, we had so my co-founder Darko, who was your host at our podcast, and I had a small company which was basically consultancy doing web development for tiny startups, and part of our kind of evolution and journey as software developers, was definitely adoption of test-driven development and pretty soon behavior-driven development, because we were always kind of really cared a lot about quality, and would just get pissed if we were dealing with bad code that we wrote ourselves or inherited.
Right.
And hated testing stuff manually. That was the big one. So yeah, from the perspective of like just getting started with testing, I think if you find it intimidating to write unit tests and write tests all the time, that is intimidating at first, but you can actually start with high level acceptance tests that just kind of automate the UI, for example, so you don't have to click around. So that's how I got into it and how I caught the bug. Of course, when you have a team, kind of you reach a point where you kind of just want to automate stuff because everybody just keeps forgetting to run tests after they do some piece of work. So that was like maybe 2011, I guess. Jenkins was pretty much the only option available. So it was actually me in the company who kind of had the task to set up Jenkins for the kind of one of the client projects that we were working on at that time. The whole thing took me about more than 2 days just to get to see the tests running, and it was like on some kind of a Linode machine. It was very slow. It was kind of very obvious in the beginning that we would need like very expensive hardware actually to get anywhere close to the performance that we're getting on our machines at work. And kind of the whole user experience that I saw there with Jenkins was just felt antiquated, because we were already used to amazing products like GitHub, of course. On one hand, on the other, Heroku was around already for some time. Semaphore was like a part of that early cohort of cloud-based CI services. We were all just doing CI in the first 3 years. Was that if you needed flexibility, like being able to define pipelines that fan out, have workflows depend on each other and stuff, you were out of luck. Basically we could not support you. So what has changed in the recently, at least for Semaphore, is that we think that if there's a workflow you need, any DevOps workflow, we can support it. So you get the full convenience of the cloud, and just don't worry about how CI/CD works. Focus on your actually creating stuff.